quarterback and send him out. I feel that air it out, air it out. I hate it, clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman to tear it down. Call plays at quarterback and send him out. Take off. I'm on a rocket, a space dog. Bought a new car from Elon, wanna race. I've been asking how long is it gonna take. I've been cracking the code, had to break it safe. I've been writing my wrongs, had to change my ways. I was stuck in one place, so I had to shake. They try holding me down, but I found my way. Roddy Rich and no bicycle love me. Ride away, then my heart went on ice again. Find the balance, my patience been going thin. In the field every day till I reach the end. Popping up on your side like we out of bounds. Ain't no way that they think that it's stopping now. I've been waiting for my turn to come around. I've been waiting for my turn to come around. Air it out, air it out. I had to clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman and tear it down. Call plays at quarterback and send him out. I feel that air it out, air it out. I had to clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman and tear it down. Call plays at quarterback and send him out.
What's up, football fans, and welcome to the Air It Out podcast, brought to you by Inside the Hashes. I'm your host. My name is Avery, and I don't know if you see it, but we got 5 weeks. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, 5 weeks in a row where the entire gang is here. Darius, the 1+1, and the coach, Mr. Braxton himself, starting with Mr. Braxton. Say what's up to the people, sir.
5 weeks feels like a big accomplishment. But we're going to keep it pushing. We're going to keep it rolling. We about to get to 52, people. That's the goal, 52, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, 52. That's what I want to say.
Lofty goals, but we are lofty gentlemen. Darius, what's up, player?
First, I want to say, if you're a big wrestling fan, this is like Christmas because WrestleMania is this weekend. And Philly, if you're going to WrestleMania, have some fun. It's going to be a great show. I'm excited to watch it Saturday. I'm excited to watch it Sunday. I wish I was there. But it's not a wrestling podcast. It's a football podcast. So I'm ready to talk football because we got a special topic that means dear to my heart. You can't see what I'm wearing. It's dear to my heart, one of the topics. So
shout out to WrestleMania. Shout out to The Rock, Cody Rhodes. The whole story has been absolutely phenomenal. Shout out to Deontay. His birthday just passed. He is going to be at WrestleMania. And my boy Ian, shout out to you. Both going to WrestleMania without me. It's cool. It is what it is. You know, Juan, say what's up to the folks.
I don't have a big wrestling background myself. Never really been into it, but watching like the Iron Claw and like the beginnings of wrestling characters and that family for what it became, I have an appreciation for the sport. Still not gonna watch it, but I have an appreciation for it. Not to mention, it's kind of funny because like all the biggest wrestling stars of our generation are now big movie stars. John Cena, The Rock. And seeing The Rock trash Jalen Hurts in front of a bunch of Eagles fans is just one of the funniest sights I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, you know, that's The Rock. Nobody's safe with The Rock, okay?
Yeah, he's at some event in Philly, and then he pulls out, like, Jalen Hurts highlights and just basically trashes Jalen Hurts in front of a bunch of Philly fans. Like,
as I stated, nobody is safe when The Rock, the final boss, decides that he wants to unleash a swift tongue lashing. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I feel like you missed the best one we could have had. Listen, The Rock, he was cooking. What we talking? Could y'all smell it?
Just a little bit.
I had to do it. It's been so long since we got to see him cook.
Listen, I don't do the easy puns. I do the difficult puns, okay? I do the ones that go over your head, all right?
Making those dad joke puns, man.
That was a pun and you missed it. Anyway, this is not the Wrestling Federation. This is not the Wrestling Federation podcast. This is the Air It Out podcast, and we're going to jump into our first topic today. And there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of talk, a lot of speculation, so on and so forth, about Kansas City and whether or not they should, will, or won't relocate this team. we've seen this in the past, right? When teams win their Super Bowls and stuff, they get some extra funding and they're like, you know what, maybe it's time to check out a different market, or if they just have some type of success, or if they're a dumpster fire of a team for so long, they're like, you know what, maybe a change of scenery is needed and necessary. Kansas City is not on that end, but they've clearly got the funds, and they've got the prestige to potentially relocate. So my question, I'll start with you, Juan, is one, should Kansas City relocate? And then two, if so, where should they relocate? Should they relocate within the city? Should they stay close by? Should they think about it in a completely different state? Inside the ring, it's coming. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen. Inside the ring, you guys know it. Inside the hardwood, inside the hashes, inside the ring. I'm just letting you guys know what's on tap. But Juan, talk to us.
I'm wrestling, trying to figure like how to approach this conversation. All right, enough with the wrestling puns. So
they missed it, Juan. They completely missed it.
It's all right. It's all right. It went over their heads, just like this football is. Anyway, it's a resounding no. I don't think that they should leave. Based on what like they were asking for, it was the whole thing was to redevelop both the Royals ballpark and Arrowhead Stadium. Royals were about $2 billion in funding. The Chiefs, $800 million, and the Chiefs are willing to put up $300 million, but they were asking for $500 million in taxes from Jackson County, Missouri, where they reside. And 58% of the people who live in Jackson County voted no. They don't want private taxes paying for renovations. And as a taxpayer, I'm okay with that. I don't want to pay for my team's stadium either, because because I'm already shelling out money for tickets, for jerseys, for cable to watch your games. Why am I paying for your stadium? I honestly think that Lamar Hunt should be the one that puts up the money, especially with all the money that the Kansas City Chiefs have been generating the last 4 years, 3 Super Bowl wins, Patrick Mahomes being the face of the NFL, not to mention how much Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift have contributed to Chiefs merchandise sales. It's insane. You have the money to make these changes. Why aren't you investing in it? But the dollar rules all, as we saw with the Rams and the Chargers when they left St. Louis and San Diego, respectively, all the way to LA. So if the Chiefs do relocate, there are a couple places I think would be ideal. I'm only going to list one. It's an unlikely one. I would say they should relocate to Chicago. It's a top three market that's still growing in population. Not to mention, it's a market that's on par with Los Angeles and New York, and both of them have NFL teams. Chicago already has 2 baseball teams. Why not add a second football team to the mix as well and make it in a Midwest in-state rivalry? The Chiefs and the Bears playing like the Chargers and the Rams do, like the Jets and the Giants do. I wouldn't be mad seeing that. And should the Bears move to Arlington for their new stadium, they could just take over Soldier Field and have that Riverfront Stadium and be even more of a big market city than they already are, considering how big Kansas City actually is.
Okay. I'm not mad at it. I personally, I personally wouldn't want to see them in Chicago, but I get it, and that's a very, very strong argument, Coach. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, they shouldn't go nowhere. Let's just be honest, and we gotta show off a little bit. When it's cold, but
off what?
It does not make sense for them to relocate.
What are you showing off?
You don't know?
I don't.
So if we want to talk people, I'm just saying. The best team. I can't see the best team.
There it is.
That's a lot better. That's a lot better.
Yeah, that one makes more sense, Coach.
That one makes more sense. That other one,
much clearer.
See, y'all keep thinking about past imperfections of.
It's much clearer now.
That's much clearer.
But as I was stating, no, they shouldn't relocate. Why are we going to relocate a team that has recently won 3 Super Bowls in the last about 5 to 6 years, has been a perennial AFC championship game contender almost every single year. There's not much that they need to do other than raise that money. And I'm not going to lie. Yes, I understand with the whole everyone wanted to vote no. They don't want to pay the private taxes. But just hear me out because I thought about this. Cool. We got to pay for the stadium. Give us a free ticket. Every person that is a taxpayer in Kansas City, Missouri that they would charge, why not give them 2 free tickets to the stadium? Between this year and next year, give them a free ticket. If we're going to pay, then we are paying for our tickets. I don't see that as a bad thing. But I also, spoke with the one, the only, the wifey, and she had a really great take I like on this, which is take them to St. Louis. St. Louis is a great team to have. They already have a great market base. They have a good, strong fan base for football. They won it back after having the Rams leave them. St. Louis Chiefs. Still sounds a little weird to me, but I love the logic. I love the location. Shout out to White.
Hey,
They wouldn't even leave Missouri. They would still be in the state.
We might have to bring wifey on the podcast.
I'm telling y'all, I've been trying to get her on here, but she be acting like she don't want to drop these gems on everybody. I'm just saying. She's weird, but it sounds weird, but it could work.
I'm not mad at that. And to Juan's point, I mean, from a relocation standpoint, it's not. I mean, you down the street for real. Darius.
The fan, I'm gonna give you 2 answers. The fan in me, if I'm a fan, I wouldn't want my team to leave. Just imagine how the Raiders felt when they were at Oakland and they went to Las Vegas. The Chargers, how they felt when they went to LA. This is going to break the fans of the Chiefs, I think, just because of the success that they have in the last, 5 years, 3 Super Bowls. They went back-to-back. We probably don't know how much Patrick Mahomes means to that city, but I'm pretty sure he means a lot, right? Like, he probably means a lot to that city. So I don't think it's a great idea for them to relocate. And the fan of me, from a business standpoint, if I'm the NFL and I'm the owner, absolutely relocate. Absolutely. And the place that I'm thinking that I thought you guys were going to say, because I see they're trying to build this and make it more international, I think they go international. I know there's been talks about expanding international and going international. I don't know if you guys have watched the games, the international games, but those fans out there are as just as much passionate as we are. Germany, UK. The only thing is maybe you got to wake up a little early to watch the game. But if you're a football fan, you wake up to go to tailgate at 9 o'clock in the morning. So you wouldn't mind waking up at 9:30 to watch your team win. And then that grows the market and that brings in the NFL more revenue because now you're tapping into a market that you've been playing with for a while, but now you're starting to see more games out there. And what better team, in my opinion, than the reigning 2-time back-to-back repeating Super Bowl champs in that international market with Patrick Mahomes as the star of that team. So if they're gonna do it, I think go international. I think it would just make a lot more money. And if Taylor Swift is still there and Travis Kelce's still there, come on, that's all you really need. Wherever they go, as long as Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback and Travis Kelce's the tight end with Taylor Swift, it's gonna sell out. So definitely think they should go international.
So fun fact, as part of the NFL's global markets program, the Chiefs have fingers in 5 of them: Austria, Germany, Mexico, Switzerland, and that's it. 4 of them.
I mean, we got the Eagles playing a game in Brazil. Like, they're trying to tap into that market. Mm-hmm. So what better way than to relocate the best team in the last 5 years in the AFC to an international in Germany or in the UK?
The Spanish broadcast of trying to cover Patrick Mahomes and play-by-play would be insane to hear.
That's what I'm saying.
That would be lovely. That would be lovely.
The ratings out the roof. The fans passionate. They love it. They love it because they don't have it. So now
here's the thing. Jerome, you're saying no way, but out of all the takes, I tend to lean toward Darius's take the most. I think all the takes are good and they make sense, but I tend to lean toward Darius's take the most, particularly from the standpoint of, like he said, the NFL is in fact trying to broaden and become international and not just be a national icon and phenomenon. We want to bring this. We've had games in London, Mexico. We're talking about Brazil. Germany. Like this is, I could absolutely, and to Darius's point, what better team? Because here's the thing: you're going to want a team that is successful, that the city, that the state, that the countrymen can get behind. And it looks like for the foreseeable future, the Chiefs, as long as they have this guy named Patrick Mahomes, they're always going to be in contention. And so there's a legit argument there that they should be the team to bridge that gap between national and international, because it's like this guy, if as long as he's there, he's the face of the league right now. So I can see it. To the other point, as far as like Missouri, same situation where I think here's the thing, and let me be clear, I don't think they should leave. Okay, I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs should leave. I don't think teams should do that to their fans. But at the same time, I think it's a situation where if you decide, hey, listen, let's spread the wealth, let's grow our fan base even more, right? Because we're consistently going to win as long as we got this guy Patrick Mahomes. Hey, Kansas City, y'all got 3 chips out of us. Let's move down the street to St. Louis real quick. Let's see if we can get 3 more there. Now we've got 2 but we've taken over the entire city as we already have, but we've taken the entire state. And now let's say you branch out to another state and do it again like that. I mean, you're talking about takeover like that could be something that we've never seen from an NFL franchise before. I don't believe that they should do it. And to the point about the money and everything like that, yes, don't make the fans pay for. I mean, the Hunt brothers, you guys own FC Dallas, the Kansas City Chiefs. What else? The Kansas City.
Let's just be honest.
You guys have more than enough money combined to come up with that $800 million. Your fans have been loyal to you guys. They've paid their respects. They've paid their dues. How about give them a brand new state-of-the-art stadium instead? How about that? How about create jobs within the city of Kansas City by creating an immaculate stadium for them and hiring from within the state of Kansas City? How about doing something like that instead of a relocation? That's what I would like to see personally. Now,
quick question for you guys. Since we're talking about relocation and the expansion of the NFL, if we were to expand the NFL, how would we feel about all of our new expansion teams coming from outside of the USA?
I mean, I feel like that's the way it's kind of trending in the first place. I don't think we're necessarily.
The only thing is, like, where do you start? Is it Canada? Is it Mexico? Or like the flight and distance?
I think it would be Mexico.
Already branch out to London, where you've been out there for more than 10 plus years.
I think it'll be Mexico first. I think it'll be Mexico first, strictly from the fact that depending on the place in Mexico, you don't have to worry about a time difference, right? You don't have to worry about
Mexico City.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about. So I would see Mexico, and it's closer. It's still international, but it doesn't feel as far away. And so that to me personally, especially with all of the real estate that's happening within Mexico right now, how they're building up Tulum, how they're continuing to build up Cancun and all those different things. So I think personally, I think that it should be Mexico. But let's move on to the next topic.
I got one more city. Because they've been calling to bring them back since they were the Dallas Chiefs. Imagine 2-team city in Dallas, the Cowboys versus the Chiefs.
Jerry Jones ain't gonna allow it. Jerry Jones is not allowing that.
No, we're not bringing up the Cowboys right now.
Absolutely livid. No, Ain't
Jerry
no
Jones
way
ain't gonna
Daniel
allow
Jones-
it.
It just seems like the most obvious plays. Imagine it, America's team versus
No.
America's favorite team right now.
No.
All the
Thank
time.
No,
And the Metro can host it.
No.
no.
Anyway,
no.
ladies and gentlemen,
No.
we're going to jump into the next topic, and that is the biggest topic probably this week, and that is the trade that sent Stephon Diggs down to H-Town, ladies and gentlemen. Stephon Diggs has been traded from the Buffalo Bills to the Houston Texans for draft picks. I'm not sure how to feel about this, so I'm going to leave it to you guys. Darius, I'm going to start with you. What were your thoughts when you heard about this trade here?
If you're an AFC East team, you're happy. You're watching the Buffalo Bills like just completely rebuild their team. When this trade first happened, right? Everybody thought Buffalo to the Super Bowl, and what do they have to show for it? Not a Super Bowl appearance, and maybe one AFC Championship appearance. And then you trade Stephon Diggs for what it seems like pennies. And then you give him to a team who literally went to their playoff. We talking about the Houston 2 years ago. The Houston Texans won 2 games. Last year, they went to the playoffs on the back of CJ Stroud. Now you give him Stephon Diggs. All right, is he a locker room cancer? Doesn't matter. The guy had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He is a Pro Bowler. He is a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. And you just gave CJ Stroud who threw for 4,000 yards. With Nico Collins, who's not a scrub. Dalton Schultz, who's not a scrub. You add in Joe Mixon. We still got Brandon Cooks. Houston, they did the rebuild the right way. And now you bring in Stephon Diggs, he's 30 years old. But again, he's still a threat. We remember when we talked about when Julio Jones with the Tennessee, just him being on the field, he's going to be a mismatch problem. He's going to be a nightmare. Now you got Nico Collins, you got Tank Dell, John Minchie. Like Houston, to me, I know it's early in the season, but they are the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs on paper right now. And we haven't even seen who they're going to draft. But the moves that they made, just based off the moves, and I'm saying on paper, I'm not saying we haven't seen them put it all together. Just on paper, they are the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs because of the moves that they made, and they did it smart. And when you look at those contracts, they didn't overspend. When you look at the trades, they didn't overspend. They did it right, and they got the quarterback help. So I love the move, and I think this is going to help not only CJ Stroud, but those young wide receivers really gel and become better pros than they were before Stephon Diggs.
Okay, Houston's the biggest threat. I mean, I don't know. The Ravens might have something to say about that, but
Houston, we have a problem.
I'll jump to the resident Ravens fan here. I mean, resident Eagles. I don't know. I'll jump the coach here.
This slander is getting ridiculous at this point. But gentlemen, let's make this real simple. Houston's making it to the AFC Championship game. I honestly, I know they'll probably play us, but listen, if they attack the draft and go full in on defense and offensive line, there is not another team right now I see other than the Chiefs, other than maybe the Ravens, that will be able to really beat and give a good game to the Houston Texans. I'm sorry. It's that simple. You give a guy that I believe can be a MVP candidate next year in CJ Stroud, a Joe Mixon, 1,000-yard back for the last 3 to 4 years, along with a solid receiving back there. You give him a solid number 1 tight end in Dalton Schultz. Tank Dell was a rookie wonder for us until he got hurt. So now you have him, you have Brandon Cooks, and as we already mentioned, Nico Collins, who's not a slouch. He has all the weapons he needs on offense. He needs no more weapons. Now, if you give that defense 1 or 2 more DBs, you tell me another team that's better. If they go ahead and sign a Justin Simmons, you tell me a team that's really better significantly over this offseason, who can really compete at every single level there is. It's not many. in the AFC or the NFC. The Texans.
I can see what you're
Don't even say that Justin Simmons.
I can see what you're saying. But
listen here, I'll put
Juan,
like
what
this
are your thoughts
here. The Texans have already gotten an A. If they win a Super Bowl, they have earned the best turnaround in the NFL to me.
I mean, without question.
If they earn a Super Bowl this year, they have the best turnaround in NFL history to me, and this will be one of the best off seasons.
Easily. I mean, you gotta think 2 years ago, again, to Darius's point, they won 2 games and then they go to the playoffs. So I agree. Juan, your thoughts?
From laughing stock to laughing nervously when they're on your schedule. That is what the Houston Texans have become. I was just scrolling through Twitter right now, and the promotion for I saw a tweet that said it was commenting on Stephon Diggs' promotional video for arriving in Houston because he's already there. He's in the locker room with the Texans right now. He ain't even cracking a smile. He looks like he's depressed just being there. And I'm like, you just got traded to a Super Bowl contender. You're not even going to crack a smile being there. I don't know what his deal is. The man has been so cryptic on his social media and says some weird stuff and comes at people in the most weird way. I can't figure Stephon Diggs out. What I can figure out, though, is that he's going to be a nice fit in the Houston offense. You got Nico Collins and Tank Dell as your wide receiver 1 and 2 already. Diggs doesn't even have to do that much in the offense because he complements those two so well as the kind of receiver he is. Not to mention, you have a great running game established with Joe Mixon in the backfield, who's a dual threat running back. He can catch well out the backfield just as much as he can run down the middle, as well as Dalton Schultz as a tight end. This offense is dang near unstoppable. I agree with Coach bringing in Justin Simmons would absolutely make this team scary as heck, even with Danielle Hunter manning the defensive line with Will Anderson. Like, the Houston Texans are scary. Looking on the other side of it all, and I forgot Dameon Pierce. Thanks, Coach. Hey, listen, Dameon Pierce burned me in fantasy last year, bro. He burned me in fantasy last year, so to me, he's dead. He's dead to me. But anyway, looking at the Bill side of things, here's who's left in the wide receiver room. Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins, and the 2 tight end set of Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. Josh Allen has no one to throw to, essentially, outside of his 2 tight ends. I don't know what Brandon Beane's plan is going to be addressing wide receiver through the draft. They don't pick that high. It's a deep wide receiver class, but how are they going to surround Josh Allen with weapons going into what is essentially another Super Bowl hopeful year? This team is down bad. It's strapped for cash, and I don't know. And it all just leaves me wondering what is Josh Allen's trajectory for 2024? What can we expect out of someone who was a consistent MVP candidate without the primary weapons to make an MVP case? He lost Gabe Davis. Now he's lost Stephon Diggs. It's insane. So
I'm going to start on the Houston Texans side with Stephon Diggs. Let's start there, okay? Number one, I think we're getting a little too far ahead of ourselves with how good Houston's going to be. Are they going to be good? Yeah. Are they going to be really good? Yeah. They still got some holes on the offensive line that concern me. They still got some holes on defense that concern me. And so for me, I can't just tout them as the biggest contenders or competitors against the Chiefs just yet, because I still see the Ravens as the most complete team on both sides of the ball to actually compete against them. And let's not forget, they just picked up a guy named Derrick Henry. So I'm not just going to completely write that off. So for me, I am still not 100% on that. Let's not also forget that the Miami Dolphins are actually building a pretty solid roster as well. So I'm not going to write them off. Oh wait, there's this guy. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's got 4 MVPs. He's got a Super Bowl ring. I think he's coming back too, and he has a top 3 defense in the NFL. His name is Aaron Rodgers. There's teams ahead of Houston still, in my opinion. Does Stephon Diggs take their offense to another level? Without question. I mean, first, let's say this. I think that Stephon Diggs is overrated. I've said that before. I'll continue to say it. I'm not saying that he's not a great wide receiver. I think he's an overrated wide receiver. With that being said, I think this is the prime season for him to blow the numbers out the water, because he'll finally be playing the position that I said he should have been playing his entire career, primarily slot receiver. He's never been a big guy. He's never been a burner down the field. He's never been those things. He's a route runner. He's crispy. He knows how to get in and out of his breaks, and he's short-handed. He's going to play primarily in the slot. I think that's going to benefit the Houston Texans. I think that's going to benefit Stephon Diggs. Now, on over to the Bills. Great but overrated. Got you. Yep, absolutely. Great but overrated. See, because there's something different between great and elite. I've never thought he was elite.
Top 20 or top 15 guy?
I'd say top 15.
I would say top 15.
But
I wouldn't
not
disrespect
top
him.
5 for sure.
Not top 5, no.
I don't feel top
I
5.
think when he first got to Buffalo, he was top 5. And then, think about his year last year. The guy had 5 consecutive 100 receiving games and a touchdown in each one. Then they fired Ken Dorsey and brought in Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator. The focus went away from him afterwards. He only had 1 touchdown over the next 9 games afterwards.
Which leads me to the Bills. My issue is everybody. Plenty of people who had him in their top 5. That's elite.
Same people who call Joe Flacco elite.
If you're in the top 10, that's elite. Like, with how many receivers there are in the NFL, like, being in the top 10 is a notable achievement. So, with that being said, moving to the Bills, too many people are writing the Bills off entirely too fast. Yes, they lost Gabe Davis. Yes, they lost Stephon Diggs. Yes, they lost some key pieces on defense. They still have Josh Allen. And no, Josh Allen is not Patrick Mahomes. But Josh Allen is not some scrub quarterback either. I do believe he's a really good quarterback in the NFL. Let's not forget, to your point, Juan, when they brought in Joe Brady, what was their focus? Why did those targets for Stephon Diggs go down? Because they said, we are going to run. Y'all hush it up. Hush it up. Sorry, the dogs, they must not like this take. But anyway, when Joe Brady comes in, they focus more on the running game. Right? And what happens? Josh Allen actually starts to excel as a quarterback because he's not having to force the football to Stephon Diggs. I believe this is actually the right move for Josh Allen's trajectory as a quarterback. Now you're going to see, can this guy play solid quarterback in the NFL behind a good running game, play action? You're not going to have that top 10 receiver anymore that's going to bail you out of situations. You're going to have to make smart decisions, wise decisions on the football field with a Matt Collins, with a Curtis Samuels, with a James Cook running the football out of the backfield, and whoever you decide to get in the draft and or some of the remaining free agents. You could be a team that trades for somebody like a T. Higgins. So for me, I think that this is actually going to bode well for the progression of Josh Allen. We're going to see whether or not this guy can actually play quarterback in the NFL. And I can't write them off just yet. Are they weaker? Without question. Are they the number 1 team in the AFC East anymore? Absolutely not. No, not. I don't think even close on paper. But I'm not writing them off just yet, is all I'm saying. Juan.
I will say that the Bills.
Who said Flacco was elite?
There were conversations about Flacco being elite. I'm just saying. That's all I got to say when he won the Super Bowl.
All right, but look, Stephon Diggs didn't win a Super Bowl, and yet people still made elite comments. Get off that. All right, I will say this. The Bills do travel to NRG Stadium this year to play against Stephon Diggs. If that's not a primetime Sunday night football game to sit down and watch, if the NFL
got that game circled already,
not make this primetime TV, you are insane, sirs. Insane.
NFL cooking right now. NFL cooking right now.
It's going to be amazing. All right, so we're going to jump into our next topic. We're going to make this one actually pretty swift, okay? We don't want to hold you guys too long this evening, so we're gonna go through this really quickly. Okay, we're gonna go continue with the segment we started last week, which is the off-season review. We're gonna continue with the AFC East today. All right, and so should we start with the guy? Should we start with the guy beneath me? Should we? I mean, he's draped. Go ahead.
Let's start with the last place.
He looks all cuddly.
Wow.
Let's start with the last place.
Cuddly and soft.
Listen.
Oh, the shade.
Listen, we throwing shots. It's too early. No, I'll make it quick. The off season for the New England Patriots. If you're a Patriots fan, I think how we handled the post breakup with Tom Brady wasn't the best. We didn't surround Mac Jones with the necessary weapons. So now we're under a new regime. Bill Belichick is gone. Jerome Mayo is the head coach. And I think if I had to give this team a grade, I would say a solid B-. We didn't bring in anybody big, but we did re-sign key free agents. Kendrick Bourne, I love the energy that he brings to the locker room. He's not a number one. There's a question about if he's a number two, but his energy that he brings to that team, to that offense, and what he's going to do for the rookie quarterback that we do draft is going to be huge. Bringing in Jacoby Brissett, I think Jacoby Brissett is probably one of the best bridge quarterbacks you can have on your team, just because he's a student of the game, right? Like he's a really solid backup. Like he's going to go in there and he can win you a football game. He's not going to win you football games, but if you need him to win you a football game and not turn the ball over, he is going to do that. You put the transition tag on Kyle Duggar, and hopefully you can get a contract extension. You know, with all the money they thought that they were going to spend big to try to go after Calvin Ridley, they didn't get him. But I think so far how they handled the situation with the money that they have, I think they did pretty good. Now the bigger question is, what are you going to do in the draft? What are you going to do with the number 3 overall pick? Do you trade back? Do you draft Drake May? Do you draft Jaden Daniels? That's really going to be the biggest question, because the Patriots need a quarterback. We see what happens with the Houston Texans. You get a quarterback, you surround your quarterback around talent, and look what can happen. So if I'm Gerard Mayo, Elliott Wolf, draft a quarterback, whoever it is, and then surround him with some talent. The defense is going to keep you in games. The number one priority in any NFL game is who's going to be throwing the football. So solid B- for my boys.
I think you
All
did Mike Penix instead of Drake May,
I think
if you trade back for some draft capital, I'm all for it. But if you don't, if you like Drake May and love, that's what you do.
I think you're being very much a fan with that B-. That's
it's
easily
a B-.
C to C+. Coach.
So I honestly, my
Coach,
team,
you have the Bills. You have the Bills.
Oh, I know, and that's the thing. I didn't really want to talk too much about it during the Houston trade talk, so it was more of a let's really think about what they have right now. Their defense, which was crazy.
Come on, real quick. The reason I give a C to C+, really like a C. Y'all got like 50 million cap. Y'all ain't do nothing. But all right, go ahead, Coach.
Maybe they'll just save it for next year.
We let it roll over. It's chess, not checkers, Avery.
This is not the old AT&T plan for you.
No, this ain't checkers. This is Candyland.
Chess, not checkers. That's all I'm going to say. Trust the process.
Anyway. All right, Coach.
Let's talk about who's not going to win the AFC East. The Bills. Let's talk about them, because I'll be honest. I see them being highly competitive, but I don't see them making the playoffs this year. I think they'll lose and be one game off of the playoffs this year. I don't think that this will be a bad year for Josh Allen. I honestly think this will be probably one of his better seasons. Honestly, to Avery's point, you got to see where they have been going since the end of last season. They are becoming a 2 tight end, run-heavy team. And honestly, if they go and get a big receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round, which they can surely do as this receiver class is deep, they can truly become a ground and pound team that in the playoffs will look somewhat similar to the Kansas City Chiefs and their 3 tight end set. They run the ball. They play good defense. They have a solid D line. They still have Ed Oliver. They still have Daquan Jones.
He's talking about the off season.
Again, they still have Von Miller, who none of these guys they lost. Guys they re-signed, Daquan Jones. People they signed, Nicholas Morrow, to go ahead and help with that linebacker core that was crazy injured last year. The main issue for me is that secondary, because, well, they lost 2 starting safeties that were all pros and Pro Bowlers for the last 7 years, basically. And a guy who, even when he's hurt, we know his name, Tre'Davious White. Who do they have left? Taylor Rapp. He was a solid starter for the Rams for a bit, but can he do that here and be better? Mike Edwards, a solid starter in Tampa Bay. Can he do good now as he's over here? These two guys got re-signed this year, along with the offense actually produced. I think this offseason, they went for, let's clear the cap, let's work this season out and make Josh Allen be the guy, develop his receivers he wants, and spend next year. They had to take the cap hits. They had to get rid of this money so they can truly build now around Josh Allen and his strengths. He's a running quarterback. That is huge.
What's your grade for him?
I honestly would give him a C. They did not do enough to help themselves get better in the short term, but they helped themselves in the long term.
All right. And Juan, the resident Jets fan here, you've got the garb on. Go ahead and talk to us.
Just want to say, thank goodness RFK did not pick Aaron Rodgers to be his vice president, because I don't know if I could have survived the season with Zach Wilson and Tyrod Taylor as my quarterback in my quarterback room. So thank you for that. Put in place. What?
Don't you hate on Tyrod Taylor?
I'm not gonna hate on him, but he is so fragile that that every time he plays in a season, he always winds up getting hurt afterwards. So
you will last 3 snaps.
Anyway,
one less than A-Rod.
Anyway, this is the biggest Super Bowl or bust season in the NFL, probably within the last 5 years. I would say the amount of money and veteran presence that this team has brought in this offseason is insane. The fact that they brought in Mike Williams and Tyron and Tyron Smith, both aging veterans, both having injury issues in the past, but still quality players. Tyron Smith was a second-team All-Pro last year, only playing 13 games. Mike Williams is still one of the better 50-50 ball catchers in the NFL. Bringing back your stud special team contributors and Thomas Morstead and Greg Zuerlein was a must, because we've seen this team led special teamers out the door like crazy. Re-signing a leader of the defense in CJ Mosley to a 2-year deal, and then trading for a sack leader, a sack producer in Hassan Reddick, as well as a right tackle in Morgan Moses. A lot of these guys are either near 30 or on the other side of 30, but they're talented big names that they hope that the Jets hope can get a lot of production out of. The fact of the matter is, like, while they fill a lot of holes temporarily, there's still a lot of needs that they have to meet, specifically when it comes to depth. You need tackle depth, because neither one of those tackles might not be healthy throughout the course of the season, especially Tyron Smith. You need wide receiver depth. Alan Lazard is not your guy. And what happens if Mike Williams goes down? You need someone to complement Garrett Wilson as a number 2 and a possible number 3. And then safety. You lost I forget his name, but he picked up Josh Allen 3 times in one game to start 2023. So I think it's not Tre'Davious, right? Jordan Whitehead. There we go. Yeah, like we lost Jordan Whitehead and Ashton Davis. Who are you going to get to fill in the spot? Because all we have left is Chuck Clark and I had it written in my notes, Tony Adams. So you still need like more safety depth in the secondary, especially when you have 2 stud corners in Reed and Sauce, and also running back. Even you got rid of, oh man, his name escapes me, but we saw him at the Senior Bowl.
Dalvin Cook.
No, not Dalvin Cook. Another. Yeah. So you cut Michael Carter, and all you have left is Breece Hall and Izzy Abanikanda. This is not a great running back draft. So either you pick up another veteran, maybe like on a 1-year deal like Zeke Elliott, or you look into the lower parts of the draft. Look at Jonathan Brooks from Texas or Jalen Wright from Tennessee. Overall, if I were to grade this offseason, this big boomer bust Super Bowl offseason for the New York Jets, I would give him a B to B-, because they got big names and they solidified enough on paper to go on a playoff contending run. But the biggest factor in all of it is if all those available pieces are available.
Okay, all right, not mad at it. Coach, I'm gonna give the Bills a D+. D as in dog. That's D as in dog plus because they Stephon Diggs, D Davis.
Again, they killed themselves in the short
Nick
term. It looks
Saban.
terrible.
D for the
But in the long
long
run, they will be better for what they did now.
I do believe that they'll end up turning it around, but just on paper, D plus. Juan, I would agree. I think maybe C plus even for the Jets. Just because, defensively there's still some holes, but I think offensively you plugged a lot of very major gaps, and so I think that's a huge win. So for me, I have the pleasure of doing the Miami Dolphins, and I'm going to start with their grade. I gave them a solid B plus. B to B plus. I believe I like what they did. I hate that they lost Christian Wilkins. Like I think that's going to be a huge blow. But I do like that they got depth at the linebacker position throughout free agency. They picked up names like Shaquille Barrett and Jordan Brooks. They picked up who else? Anthony Walker Jr. These are some really good linebackers. These are guys who can move. They're swift. They can fly to the football. So I love those moves. I love getting Jordan Poyer, a veteran safety on the back end. Obviously, losing Xavier Howard is going to hurt, but you pick up a Jordan Poyer and then go out and get Kendall Fuller on the other side of Jalen Ramsey. I like the moves that they made to kind of, I don't want to say Band-Aid because these are really good players. Like to even out, yes, that's a much better to even out what they lost, right? I think it's a huge loss to lose Christian Wilkins, but I believe they're going to be more of a rotational defensive line now, bringing up Neville Gallimore and Nick Needham. Not Nick Needham. Neville Gallimore, and there were two other D tackles that they brought in. Where I'm looking at it, Benito Jones, and there was one other. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but bringing those guys in, it looks like, okay, you're going to be more like how Philly kind of rotates their defensive line, right? It's just like everybody stays fresh. I like those moves, right? And so you're not leaning strictly on Christian Wilkins to make plays all the time. And then obviously you get your guys healthy coming back in. His name has escaped me towards Achilles last year.
Jalen Phillips
And
Bradley Chubb.
Exactly. So I like the moves that they made there. Offensively, they did pick up Isaiah Wynn. I love that move. I absolutely love that move. There's I think you can't do re-signing, not picking up. I love that move. And the reason I say that is because you want to protect your franchise. And Tua is the franchise. So, and you're going to have to pay him. So you might want to keep the guys that have been there. You might want to keep the guys that know the offensive scheme, as opposed to bringing in some new people to try to figure it out. I'm a proponent of that. And I like them re-signing Raheem Mostert. I love that actually, because I was tired of the guy getting disrespected. Okay, I was tired of it. Okay. I hear that they have made an offer to none other than Odell Beckham Jr. I would love to see OBJ in the slot and then Tyreek Hill and Jalen. That would be a nightmare. That'd be a nightmare for any defense. I'm just saying. So for me, again, solid B plus, maybe scratch out an A-.
B plus. You're forgetting a huge signing. What are we talking about?
Which one am I forgetting?
Smith. You would not be listen. Jonnu Smith is an underrated tight end and will fit perfectly in their system. He can block when needed, and he's mobile enough to go sideline to sideline like they would.
So
he cool.
Listen,
he cool.
That's an underrated signing for
Isaiah Wynn.
No, I think that's a great signing. I think that's a great signing for them, but I don't think it's a game-changing signing.
Isaiah Wynn.
You don't like that
Isaiah Wynn.
You don't like it?
No.
He ain't like it with the
That's a don't even say his name. Drug test this man now. I was all on board with everything else.
What do you
and
mean?
I liked Isaiah Wynn when he came out of college. I liked Isaiah because he was a tackle. He played pretty well his first season with us. But his last year, prior
to him getting hurt.
Here's what I'll say.
I'll say this. Unless because I think he's one of those guys who, if you put him at guard, because he played a little bit of guard too, if you put him at guard, okay.
That's
but
what I'm saying. No.
Okay.
That's why I said they re-signed offensive guard Isaiah Wynn.
Okay.
As a tackle, he's absolutely putrid.
Okay. That's why. All right. My blood pressure was rising. Don't do that.
Like these are good
as a guard. And the reason I say that is I'm looking at it from the standpoint of look at what they did with the running game with him at guard, like Mostert, Achane. It didn't matter who was kind of running behind that. Like they were getting busy. So that's why I'm saying, like, I like the move. And again, you want to protect your franchise. So it's just like
when they moved Andrus Peat on the Saints back a couple years to guard to allow them to have Ryan Ramczyk, Andrus Peat, Teron Armstead. Like they had guys.
And now Andrus Peat isn't even on the roster anymore. But anyway, I will say this. Even though all those signings were great, the fact that they lost Christian Wilkins, who was a stud interior defensive lineman, the fact that they lost one of the better guards in the NFL, Robert Hunt, to the Carolina Panthers, those are two huge pieces that you lost in the trenches. Not to mention, I understand why you had to let go of Xavier Howard. He wasn't the shutdown corner that he used to be. That 10-pick season that he had in 2020 feels like a lifetime ago. But the fact of the matter is, this team also still has a lot to prove as a unit. They've been known to get hot early at the start of the year and then fizzle out over the course of the rest of the season. This is a make or break year for Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa. I love Tua. Do not get me wrong. I hope that he succeeds because he's had a lot of adversity in his life, from the head injuries to his hip injury back in college. And I want a left-handed quarterback to succeed in this NFL. But the fact of the matter is, if they do not, at minimum, reach the AFC Championship, ownership might have to start taking into consideration some changes, maybe not just at the quarterback position, but maybe a head coach as well.
I would push back there. Quarterback, absolutely. Head coach, absolutely not. That's all I'm going to say there. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Air Up Podcast. We want to thank you all for joining in. We appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in today. Please do us a favor. Go and follow us on all of your social media platforms. That's Instagram and Facebook at Inside the Hashes. That's Twitter or X. That's at Inside Hashes. Please don't get it confused. At Inside Hashes. Please do that. Then go over to YouTube, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and then turn on notifications so you can get your comments dropped in the chat live like you saw here today. And then please do me a favor. Head on over to the website, www.insidethehashes.com. That's where you're going to get every single thing that you need, football related, podcasts, blogs, gaming, fantasy, football, interviews, all of those different things right there, www.insidethehashes.com. And if you don't want to do that, all you got to do is go right on over to that QR code right there. That QR code right there, go ahead and scan that QR code. It'll take you exactly where you need to be, okay? And, what's that? Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. So anywho, as I was saying, please make sure that you go ahead and do that for the one and only, 1+1, for Coach Braxton and for Darius. My name is Avery. This is the Air It Out Podcast brought to you by
nice and warm in my purple and gold here. The best.
You meant green? What's it? White and green? Black and green? Yeah, there it is. That picture right there. That picture right there.
Just like that meme about the dress.
That picture right there. I gotta buy you a Eagles cover.
Gold and purple.
I just see this right here.
Yeah, that's all I see. That's all